Good day everyone, welcome to Studio 39 Design Studio. This is Richmond speaking, your resident architect. This is a 6-part video series on how to set up your personal template, which you can save and use anywhere, anytime. You can also edit it as you find more efficient ways to use ArchiCAD. In this video, we're going to be talking about line types, fill types, and pen setups. Just a reminder, like, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Like I said, in this video, I'm going to be talking about line types, so let's get into it. So, this is the default ArchiCAD 22 template. So I want to go back to my actual ArchiCAD template, which I created on my previous video. So I saved it on my desktop. This is the ArchiCAD 29DS 2020 standard. So I'm going to select it, and then I'm just going to say create new and let ArchiCAD open. So I've opened ArchiCAD with our previous setting from our previous video, as you can see here on the screen. So what I'm going to be doing right now, we're going to be setting up the line types. And how do you get to the line types? You go to options, element attributes, and then you select lines. Obviously you can also use this I think it's attributes template, so switch it back on. This is going to be useful going forward because most of these we're going to be touching on. This is lines, this is fills, and this is pens over here. So we're going to click on lines. As you can see here, this is the default line types that are in ArchiCAD, in the ArchiCAD library when you install it. But what about the other one? So let's look at a long dash, or you can also look at the dash line basically. So what you're going to see here, this is just the default line, and then what you do get, as you can see here, the dash here is the symbol, so the actual line, the dash line, and then the gap is the distance between the two. So you can go and set them up manually, or what you can also do is you can use these flags. The black flag indicates the symbol size, and then the white flag indicates the gap in between the lines. But and then also you can also set up whether you want it to be fixed, or do you want the line to sort of like adapt to the size of the scale or of the scale which you have set on your view as you go along with your project. I'll suggest that you save it as scale independent paper size so that it doesn't look weird when you go into print mode, but that's a story for another day. So that's that. What about other sort of like customized lines like symbols or anything like that? So you can always say new. When you say new, obviously you can either duplicate the dash, or it's better we use a symbol. As you can see here on the symbol one is indicating an X, and obviously you can as you can see at the top right there. So I'm just gonna give it 1 here just to give it some space, and then gonna grab the white one, and then you can save it as you go along. But what about other symbols which you might want to use? So let me just create a couple of symbols. So I'm going to go into a line. I'm gonna take a line like this, 45 degrees. I don't think that actually matters, so I'm gonna mirror it. I'm actually gonna mirror a copy, right? And then I'm gonna drag a copy across like that, or I can also use a circle right there. So I can just Control C to copy this, open up my line setup, and then go to new and symbol. Let's call this one arrows, and then say okay, and then we can just say paste. There you go. Now with this one, obviously now we can obviously tone this down a bit so it doesn't become so large, and then we can bring in the gap. I'm using the flags instead of using the attributes down there. So I can say, if I wanted to be accurate, I can say 9 and then I can say 3 over here, which is okay, and then I can just say okay and save it. Now when I want to sort of like create something like that, select that, and then I can go select the element, the line type which I just created. I can also obviously copy this, go back to line types, new symbol, okay, and then say paste. It's gonna paste the section in there, and then I can just reel this in, make it 9 over here, make it 9, and then make it 3 over there, and say okay. And there you go. That's another different type of line. So basically that's how you set up lines. I've never had to set up a line before, but you never know, you might want to create something using these line types in ArchiCAD. So go enjoy using ArchiCAD and using this system, and I hope this is going to be helpful for you going forward. Alright guys, now let's talk about fills. There are 4 fill types. We have solid fills, vector based fills, symbol fills, and image fills. The vector and the symbol fills might look the same, but the vector, the Victorians, are presets in ArchiCAD and you cannot change them, while the symbol fills are the ones that you can sort of like change yourself. So basically how you get to fills, you go to options, element, attributes, and then you go to fills, but you can just use the attributes panel on which is open right now, and then you can just click on fills. Now the solid fills basically are the fills which these are the presets. We can set one up at maybe we can say new, and then we can say, let's call this one 90%. Obviously that's exactly what it means. So give a space here. This is going to be a solid fill, say okay, and the only thing that we can change here is just the opacity, and we can have it at 90%. And also with the availability and availability, you can use drafting fills, cover fills, cutting fills. Now the drafting fills are the fills that are showing on sort of like on drafting mode, maybe on 2D drawings when you're creating side plans and everything that is sort of like drafting mode basically. And also and then cover fills is when you are using them on things like mesh or floor slabs and everything like that, and they'll show mainly on the ground or on floor layouts. And then the cut fills will show in section when you're cutting through something. So it's best to sort of like identify while you are in the process of creating this fills, identify what is the fill for, so that you can preset it to where you want it to show up later on. So if I were to set it up to about 50% over here, you'll see that the screen online pattern will change, because the solid fills are basically opacity based. So this image, the screen only pattern is, or it only depicts what you are seeing here on the side. So basically that's what it's doing. Because this one is 90, we're just gonna leave it at 90, and then we're just gonna say okay. So maybe you wanted to show on a cut fill, I only wanted to show on a draft fill later on, but I doubt I'll ever use it. Now if I were to use it, I'm just gonna leave it like that and say okay. Now let's talk about the vector fills. Vector fills, the Victorian fills basically are these fills which are already preset. Let's go for the block one right here, and then you can use on the view here. If you can't see it properly, you can zoom out or zoom in so that you can see it properly. the actual fill on its own. And then obviously you can space it out some more. Maybe you can say 90 on this one. See, it gives it more space. And then you can also give it maybe an angle, let's say 45-degree angle over here. So that's basically up to you. And also here at the bottom, you can also sort of like identify, do you want it to be fixed or do you want it to rescale according to the model scale or the layout scale as you go along with your design workflow. So that's basically something that you need to be looking out for. Obviously you can't edit much of this moving forward. The only fields that you can actually edit, let's say let's start again. The ones that you can edit are the sort of like the symbol fields. These are the symbol fields. You can also sort of like edit them and create your own. Basically, let's say we wanted to create our own. So I have some hexagons here, so I can say control C to copy this hexagon. Same thing that we did with the lines. So I'm gonna go into fields right here. I'm gonna say new, and I'm gonna click on symbol, and then I'm gonna give it a name, hexagon, and then I'm gonna say okay. Now on hexagon, what I'm gonna do now, because I've already copied, I'm just gonna say paste, and that's what you get. You can sort of like zoom out, and that's basically it. And then you can also play around with the patterns here on the side, so that you can get the ideal one that you want for your hexagon. So let me just play around with it a little bit. So that's basically it if you want to play around with pixel art. So let's just give it a test right now. So I'm gonna grab a fill tool right here. I'm just gonna go actually I want to use a different type of fill setup. So we can just go around here, connect it, select this, and then set it up to a hexagon. There's my hexagon right there. Obviously the issue that we're having right now is because of the scale. So if I were to select this and say that, go to my hexagon, I can easily play around with the sizing there of it. Zoom out a bit, so maybe make this a bit smaller. There you go. It's a bit off, but you get the gist of it. You can play around with it. I don't really have the time right now to actually go around and sort of like work around this problem right now, but you get the gist of it, of how to create a symbol fill yourself. And now what I want to do right now is actually create an image fill. Now the image fills are sort of like there's a couple of them which are already preset here. So let's just look at them right now. So obviously here I'm just choosing sort of like a draft fill, and then I can go to the BNG carpet. Basically that's the carpet, and also create choose the wood one. So these are the two preset sort of like image fills. These are sort of like image based, where you use a JPEG or a PNG to create this. And if you want to create your own, obviously you can just go to fill, and then you can say new, and then go to image and say okay. You can rename this. So I'm going to let's say I want to load an image, and say add. I'm going to go to desktop. I want this to be sort of like large icons, so that I can see exactly what they are. And these are some of the fields which I want to sort of like create as part of my sort of like template right now. So I can create sort of like a brick core key, so have that in there, and then just say okay. So Can do that again. Embedded library. So it's showing over there, and then I can sort of like rename it as brick. I have this one as a brick on my desktop. There it is. Copy. So I can just put that in. Say OK. And then so you can work you can also stretch the image to whatever you want it to be. So you can stretch it sort of like vertically and horizontally. You can angle it if you want to angle it. You can play around with the mirroring tool, however you want to mirror it. You can set it to fix, or you can set it to adapt to the scale of the model. And then you can also play around with this sort of like pixel art, as we did with the hexagon element that I showed you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and just play around with this and create that that pixel art. I don't really like doing this, but if you're really keen on doing something like this, you can take your time and enjoy the process. So that's basically it. I really prefer the way it looks, so I can just say OK, and then I can go ahead and change that to the one that I just created. Obviously, considering I can always sort of like adjust the size of it as I go along, or based on what scale I want it to be in. So that's basically it. And then you can add as much images as you want, and as much sort of this image fills as you want. So that's basically it. Okay, now guys, let's talk about pen setups. So in order to create your own pen set, you can go to option, element, attributes, and go to the pen and color. But obviously we can also use the attribute panel, which is already on my toolbars. So you can just open it here. You can see here you have about altogether here there's a whole slew of pens that you can use, 255 pens to be exact. So for me, I do have sort of like what I'm looking forward to creating is my main set of pens, and then a gray tones, color coordination, and then a set of pens which are going to be in color to depict walls, water, concrete, wood, and steel. So without any further ado, let's just get into it. So what you can do is basically it's just a combination. Pen sets are just a combination of color and line weights. So if you click on the first one, what you can do, you can set up the pen weight. So it's going to be 0.10 on this one, and then you can double click the color to choose which color you want. So obviously you can use the RGB set, or just click freely using the crosshair and also you can select from this list over here, but I think this one is okay for now, so I can just say okay. And then maybe I can say general drafting, which is fine. So I can copy this, and then the next one I want it to be black also, so I can go over here. The second one is going to be 0.18, and this one is going to be also general color. So I'm just gonna run quickly through all of them, creating my pen set, and then we'll see you at on the other side.
No, don't show yourself, not yet. Baby, let's get there slowly. Time is holy, hell is lonely, and summer's blinding speed. Out loud, don't let your heart lie down, stay proud. Mornings been waiting all night. Keep it in a nice bright and stand upright. Heaven's so fine, heaven's so fine. Give me the list and show my weakness. Heaven's so fine. Don't show yourself just yet. Breathe out instead, won't you? Let my distress haunt you tonight. I won't show no dismay. Please believe I want everything. Love won't leave with me. Life will make you see fools fighter and have it your way. Now heaven's on fire, heaven's on fire. Give me the list and show my weakness. Heaven's on fire.
Okay guys, so now I'm done creating sort of like my pen set. Obviously, as I said, this is my main pens going up to 0.7, and then this is my gray tones, and then my color set, and then I have here ones that depicts walls, brick walls depicted in red, water and sort of like cyan. Forgot what magenta does, I'll fix that later. Concrete is in green, yellow is wood, blue is steel, brown is sewer, and then green again is waste. So what I'm going to do right now is pretty much just save this 0.0001 so that it shows at the highest point of my pen set, and then I'm going to call this one Studio 39DS pen set, and I'm just gonna store that and then say okay. Obviously this information will change right now. Some of this have been changed, so what I can do now is I can probably like go along here, set them up, because right now the default pen set right now is the according to my quick options is the one that I just finished sort of like editing and storing. So yeah, you can see by identifying true line weights that the true line weights are showing accordingly. Yeah, I might need another one here, right here at the bottom, which would be the last one over there. So basically you can see the true line weights. If you don't want to see the true line weights, obviously you can just go to true line weight and then uncheck that. So in another video I'll show you guys how to set up if you don't really want to be using while you're in drafting mode, you don't want to be showing the true line weights. What you can do is you can set them up in a color and save this pen set maybe in a different type of pen set with these defined in colors rather than defined in black. So that's another thing I'm going to show you, but I'm going to be showing you guys in a different video. In this video it's all about just getting you guys to be able to create a pen set. I think that's where it should end. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this was helpful to you. Like, comment, subscribe to this channel because I'll be doing more videos like this every week. Love you guys, God bless you, and goodbye.
Heaven's